Yes, boys and girls. Oh man, what a second half performance. What a game. What a two-legged tie in the end. Absolutely nuts. Over the moon. I think both of us are trying to sort it out, and we got there in the end. Get your comments in, guys. Tell us how ecstatic you are. Who were you man of the match? I think there was a few players in the second half. We talked about Anthony backstage. Fred, obviously, always a second half performance that like no other. But welcome to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. Get your comments in, get liking, get subscribing. Oh man, honestly, listen, we were talking about this the other week, and obviously we want to get through everything, we want to win everything, whatever, and we're still very much in everything. But my real concern is we did look knackered, even in the second half. You know, towards the sort of last 10 minutes, nobody wanted to run, and I think that's going to be a major problem. But of course, now we've got potentially another minimum of 2 extra games. Stu, great to have you on. Obviously, we've got Hammer on as well. And I'm going to do a nice little introduction for you, brother, soon. Great to have you back, buddy. And of course, Jamie, my favourite. So Stu, talk to me.
Yeah, look, I think we're all buzzing, aren't we? Let's be honest. But funnily enough about football, reality bites, doesn't it? And it bites fucking hard. And the whole of football's standing up and taking notice of what's happening at the red side of Manchester at the minute. And the way that we are approaching games, but the way that we finish games. And at the minute, for whatever reason, we're not quite doing it in the first half, but we're doing it in the final 30 minutes of the second half. We've blossomed into this indestructible unit right now. It scares me to say that because I know how football can go. Football can stab you in the heart just like that. I've played in plenty of matches where we've been coasting and all of a sudden, bang, sucker punch, you're knocked out and you're out of the ropes. We don't seem to be doing that at the minute. We seem to be able to waver whatever storm. Look, Barcelona are no mugs. I thought Barcelona were exceptional in the first 45 minutes. I was very surprised to see them capitulate the way that they did. But football offers you a chance to bloody the nose of the opposition. And that's what we did with our super striker, the most prolific of all footballers, and that is Fred. That guy, I don't know what happens to him. In the first half, he's nowhere to be seen. And all of a sudden, the second half, he steps out of a cocoon body of himself and appears to be this butterfly wizard that can do no wrong in the second half of matches. And that's where we are with him in a minute. It's a terrific performance. My lad's at the game. He's texted me. He said, "Dad, it's mayhem in the stadium." He said, "You've never seen anything like it." To which I replied, "Of course I have, son. I'm older than you." You know. But for him, he's never experienced this in his lifetime, really, following Man United, and now that he can. So, look, you've got to put it to bed now, unfortunately, because we've got a huge game on Sunday. Marc, you're absolutely right. We look tired. Wembley's a big pitch. Newcastle will have had 8 days rest. If I'm Ten Hag,
yeah, well, it's only 3 days until the final.
Yeah. Well, look, if I'm Ten Hag, I'm getting the lads on a plane and I'm flying down to London tonight, so you can at least have a morning off tomorrow, and then train in the afternoon. You know, going home and then traveling tomorrow or tomorrow evening, it's not the way forward. You've got to travel tonight. So I'm hoping we travel tonight. It doesn't get documented, and that we have half a day off. We do a warm down in the afternoon, a light training session in the evening, a bit lighter again on the Saturday, ready for the Sunday, because the recovery time between now and Sunday kickoff is limited. The training that you'll have will be limited if you don't travel tonight, because you're just taking hours out your schedule. So, look.
Oh, what a cliffhanger. Look, what? Anyway, I'll carry on anyway. A couple of comments I want to come to first, and I'll bring you guys in. I'm sure Stu will be back in a minute. Greg and Keane at this time. Probs pissed out of their heads. I know that a few beers were drunk on the way up, and I'm sure they're having a great time. And what a feeling for those two, and of course everybody else at the stadium and other people as well. Absolutely jealous. Tried to get tickets myself and failed miserably in the end. And then I'm not going to sing this, but we can all hear it. Don't cry for me, Barcelona. Love that, Jarvis. Get your comments in, guys, as I said earlier. Yeah, man, absolutely elated. Obviously, I want to hear how you guys feel. Who maybe we could get in the next round. I've got a list of teams we could potentially get, and we'll go through that as well. Joan Laporta, bye. I don't know if that's real, but anyway. Right, anyway, moving on. Jamie.
I'm so sorry. I was messing around with my tabs, and I took myself out.
Close the wrong one. Obviously, very good technology, asked you. Anyway, Jamie, great to have you with us, buddy. I'm also very jealous of you, the fact that you're going to the final this weekend, my man. So, of course, you won't see his beautiful face this Sunday, but you will, of course, see mine and Stu as well. So, Jamie, yeah, talk to me, man. How are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously, I'm gutted. I couldn't be there tonight, but the fact I'll be there on Sundays makes up for a little bit.
How did you get a ticket?
Yeah, secrets, my friend.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
No, it's not even a secret.
The same way we watch 3:00 kickoffs on a Saturday.
I haven't been fucking DMing Nile Ranger. That's for certain. You know, I don't know about you. No, I'm very lucky that I had a mate who had a spare season ticket. I could sort of piggyback off of and get a ticket for it. So, and I've been using that ticket to go to games as well the last couple of months. So, but look, it's one of those. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what to say about tonight. Tonight is one of those things that, as a Manchester United fan, it happens. You have nights like this. It's annoying that it is in the Europa League, but you know, just no shadow of a doubt, right? And don't get it twisted. That's the biggest European tie that there's been this season. I don't care about Liverpool and Real Madrid.
Probably the best European game as well this season.
Do you know what I mean?
2 legs.
That's across all 3 European competitions. UEFA have managed to find a way to put Barcelona and Manchester United together and create that. And, do you know what I mean? Like over the 2 legs, like unbelievable qualifier for a place in the prestigious Europa League knockouts. You know what I mean? Like that was a Champions League final level bout of football. It's one of those. Ten Hag, we've waxed lyrical about him constantly on this channel.
I'm ready for more, Jamie. So go on.
But oh my God, this man is a genius, right? We obviously right. So we saw that photo. Everyone's seen that photo of him and Sir Alex sitting down for dinner. You know, you've got a photograph of the greatest football manager who ever lived and Sir Alex Ferguson. Like they're sat down chatting tactics, chatting stuff, and things like that. And it's just the guy gets the club. He embodies it, and he seems to just exhume everything that Manchester United is about. And I don't care again whether it's the Europa League. Like nights like this is why people support Manchester United. It's in the blood of the club to have big nights against like this. And it's like they were saying in the pre-match commentary and stuff like that. Like, you know, do Barcelona come to Old Trafford as underdogs? And part of me, the rational part of my brain was like, do they fuck? Like they're top of the league by 8 points, whatever it is. You know, Real Madrid are a phenomenal side, and Xavi's still got Barcelona ticking over. But there was part of me that was just like, yes, I think they do. You know, that Old Trafford crowd tonight was bouncing, was absolutely buzzing. The atmosphere sounded phenomenal. They did their job. And Ten Hag has done what Ten Hag has done all season. We played 45 minutes where, and again, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but for that first 20 minutes or whatever it was, up until that penalty, we were the better side. We were proactive. We were pressing. We suffocated Barcelona so much, and then we got a sucker punch. And it's one of those, under previous United managers and under previous regimes and in previous seasons, we'd have had that penalty go against us, and we'd have lost 2-3-0. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we went in at half time, and you just know that Ten Hag has something up his sleeve. And the way he sets us up, right, is, and one thing that fascinates me is the lineups he puts out at the start of every game. He can make one personnel change, which can trigger 4 tactical changes. You know, so we took Weghorst off and we brought Anthony on. So all of a sudden, Rashford's at centre forward, Sancho's out left, Anthony's out wide, and Bruno tucks back into the 10. And all of a sudden, that entire front 4 has a complete new look, and it works. No. See, I disagree.
I think maybe after the penalty.
Yeah, after the penalty sucked the life out of us, and that's understandable. But we came out the blocks hot. Do you know what I mean? Like it was the complete opposite of the Leicester game. That we started strong, and I think that we again, we showed that we were up for the fight. They rode the wave of the crowd support, and then we got hit by a penalty that, in my opinion, is the softest penalty you can concede. I'm not going to sit here and argue whether it was a penalty or not, because it's by the letter of the law, it probably is. It is a penalty.
It is, Jay. Just by the letter of the law, it is. That's
what I mean. That's why
I've been caught by pulling. I've been caught by pulling an arm before, you know. And to be honest, Jamie, I was caught by pulling quite light, but it's the actual motion and it's the movement. It's bollocks, really. And I'll tell you why. Because as an attacker, if you're in front of me and I'm dragging your arm even slightly, you're still touching me here and you're still grabbing my shirt. So you're doing everything you can to fend me off. And then when you realise you're in the area, what do? You let's go your shirt, don't you? And down you go.
And this is why I was saying that, like, obviously I'm not going to sit here and argue that it wasn't a penalty, because it's one of those that you see them season after season, you see them either given or not given. And when it goes against your team, you're always going to be frustrated.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that, so in the 25 minutes towards the end of the first half, we were poor and Barca looked like they could have scored 2 or 3. And we came out, Ten Hag made the tactical change that he needed to make, and we came out and we dominated. We dominated in that second 45. I agree with your point a little bit that no one seemed to want to run. I think we were a bit knackered. At the point where we've gone 2-1 up on the night and stuff like that, and we're going through, I think in the back of a lot of the players' minds we've got a final in 3 days. So am I going to want to go? You saw Casemiro go for that 50-50 with Lewandowski, and he dragged his studs across there down his shin. And there was a moment where my heart was in my mouth. Marcus Rashford with that little knee knock that he had against Araujo. The players are probably seeing that happen around them and go, I don't want that to be me. So, end of the day, though, Ten Hag did what he needed to do. He changed the tactical fluidity of the game, and it played right into our hands. Barca looked lost the second half. They had a few nearly moments, and I'm sure we'll pick up on them as we go through the night. Antony was spectacular. Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane, I don't care if it is biased, they are the best centre-half partnership in the world.
Yeah, they are terrific.
Oh my God. And there was that moment where Varane managed to, I can't even remember who he was defending against, but it was a last-ditch challenge. Martinez was on the floor next to him and just watching them, Varane pick Martinez back up and the two of them hug each other. And it's time. We prayed for times like this. Do you know what I mean? We've been so starved of, we had brief moments under Ollie and stuff like that. And there was obviously the good periods under Mourinho, but a lot of it felt like we were really, really riding our luck. And I can't remember the last time I felt a team atmosphere like this. And honestly, and I agree with what you're both saying about, the fact that it's only 3 days to the final. Newcastle have the advantage in that sense. But at the same time, riding this crescendo of emotion, riding this, just this wave of positivity into Wembley is phenomenal. If we can do that over 2 legs as well, don't get me wrong, this was not a smash and grab performance. This was not let's get a 1-0 counter-attack goal. This was across the 2 legs, we were the better side against one of Europe's most informed teams who are, currently pissing La Liga. If we can do that, why can't we go turn up to Wembley on Sunday and go and bring home Erik ten Hag's first trophy? Obviously I know he's won the Bangkok Century Cup Championship.
Put those on the table.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I know I've gone on a little bit here, but tonight, just honestly, man, it just shows why he is the best bald manager in Manchester. Absolutely
spot on. Some might call it 10 out of 10 Hag. I don't know what you think about that. But anyway, it's now hammer time. It's been a long time, brother. I'm so pleased to have you back, my man. I hope you're really, really well. I hope everything's great in the States. And now you finally get your piece, so I apologise on their behalf. But how are you, my man? And how are you feeling after that performance?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I had a fucking root canal today, so that was actually a great way to end my day instead of...
And he's still here. What an absolute soldier.
I will say, somebody lied about root canals being as bad as I thought they were, but I was going into that shit so stressed, man. And then they started taking x-rays, and I was like, oh, you're done? Okay, shit. Anyways, to the United stuff. Man, that was a hell of a game. I know it's Europa League and stuff like that, but when Antony scored that goal, I literally jumped out of my chair and fucking chucked my phone across the room. And I don't react like that in general when I watch any type of sports. So that was a great game. And yes, the first half was a pain in the ass. I think The penalty definitely sucked the air out of the team to start off. But also, like I think Jamie said it, when we're going into halftime, I wasn't necessarily nervous because we have been seeing the team come out and respond, and whoever we're playing against, rather if we have a rough first half. And as much as people, and I agree with them that we talk about Ten Hag's tactical abilities and all that type of stuff, man, the mentality and the energy that he has put into this squad from top to bottom is ridiculous. These guys are genuinely willing to run themselves into the ground for Ten Hag, and I think that's a whole different thing when you add it on top of the certain places on the pitch where we have ridiculous talent. We have it all throughout the different levels, but there still needs to be improvement, as we all know. But it was great, man, and the atmosphere. Holy shit! You guys are over here or over there complaining about might not be able to get tickets. All right, I'm over here in the States, and I'm having to try to feel this energy through the TV, and I definitely did today because I could hear the crowd, I could feel the crowd today, and that was some great stuff. And then, of course, as the one thing I want to mention too, I'm sure we're going to talk about a few different things, but damn it, you guys mentioned our center backs. I fucking love them. When Varane made that goal line fucking clearance, I was losing my shit right there at the end. And then I don't know if you guys, there's the stream that was coming for you guys, but mine at the end where, they're showing the players going around. They showed Varane and Martinez like back-to-back images. I was like, Jesus Christ, how are these two our center backs right now? So it was a great game. It was one of the more fun ones I've watched recently, even though I know we've been playing well. But like I said, it had me going crazy, and I don't react to sports like that usually.
Yeah, my two little princesses dogs were absolutely shitting themselves in the corner when I erupted after both goals, and it was quite I think the missus gets a bit pissed off, but on a night like tonight, who gives a fuck? Anyway, right, moving on to a few stats for you. I know you love these, Stu, but 19. So Manchester United have had 19 goals scored by substitutes in all competitions this season, the most of any big 5 European league side. Now, whilst that's great, whilst that kind of shows a bit of depth, is that a little bit of a false sense of security, do you think?
No.
Is it me, is it?
Yes, mate.
Look, football doesn't allow you to have a false sense of security. That's the trouble. I mean, you can win 5-6-0, 3-4, 5 games on the spin, and then go 6 games where you can't hit a bag of cement, a bag of sand. It's a really difficult. Football is just unforgiving. I go through this a lot, and I try and explain it all the time, but it's so unforgiving, football. We played. I do a lot of charity football at the minute, and I was playing left back against a 21-year-old whippet, and he just made me look like a complete idiot. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't catch him. But football does that. But I knew.
You're playing against a load of dogs.
Yeah, well, they may as well have been because he left me for dead so many times. But the thing is, I knew where to stand. I knew what to do. I just couldn't catch him. And football has a habit of biting you just at the moment where you think we can go on and win the quadruple. This is why teams don't win quads. This is why our team that won the 1919, that won the treble, it is a phenomenon. It really is. It's such a difficult thing to do, to achieve great statistics, Mark, as I know you love, because the bottom line right now and moving forward is to win football matches. And I know Jamie and Hammer will agree, and I know you will, Mark. If we win 1-0 week in, week out, who cares? Let's just win football matches. So I understand the question, and I do like the question, but us four on here, we all view football the same way. We all know the pitfalls of it. We all know the beauty of it. But we know ultimately you have to
about
win.
Winning games.
Yeah, and whether you win ugly or whether you win smart, it doesn't matter. And just one thing, and I don't want to bring the Scousers up, but I was reading a few comments in and around Twitter and all this the other day when Liverpool were beaten 5-2. Teams have come back from worse score lines than that and won ties. It's really difficult. We're going to get a seeded team in the next round, aren't we? We can't get Arsenal, so we're going to get a group winner, whoever that group winner will be. And we're going to have another tough couple of games. So the old adage is, and Fergie would tell you, and I love Jamie's speak about Fergie and Ten Hag. It must have been wonderful to see. But the master and the apprentice, or is he the junior master? You tell me, because Ten Hag he's got this je ne sais quoi about him. The whole team has this je ne sais quoi about them. They've got flair. But when was the last time we could say we've actually got steel? When was the last time we could say that, boys? And we got resilience. And we got somebody that I love in Martinez, because he plays exactly how I play. He's a dirty bastard. Takes no prisoners. And I love it. You got Casemiro running around like he's 12. It's fantastic.
Careful talking about 12-year-old kids, because we got in a lot of trouble with the Brentford fans last time. So just be careful.
Yeah, I did. Well, I called them under eights, and they did play us like under eights. But it's phenomenal, isn't it? And Anthony tonight, and me and Jamie and Hammer were talking about it pre-show. He got his head screwed on for once. For once, he had his head screwed on, and he took his shot. Beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, great finish that was. Right. We'll come back to Anthony in a minute. I just wanted to check. I've got loads of comments that I want to read out. I've got a few other things that I want to read out. And of course, I want to come to everybody else as well. But thank you very much, Stu. We will come back to you, and I will ask you about Anthony next, I can assure you. Just a couple of things here. Jarvis, imagine what Ten Hag can do with the team in a couple of years. I'm starting to believe we can win it all. And that's exactly what everyone's been saying, particularly Jamie. At the moment, we're just in so much belief that by half time he's going to turn it around, and it's happened every time. And
sorry, Jarvis.
I'm so impressed by the lads. We show maturity in our game, tactical fouls, shithousery when needed, hold the ball in the right moments, defending like lions. So proud of the boys. And Julio, great to have you with us. If you didn't see it the other week on a reaction, he was with us, did a great job, and we'd love to have you back on soon, mate. So thanks for joining us again. Anfield isn't the cauldron everyone says it is. European nights under the lights at Old Trafford hit really different, atmospherically, arguably the best in the world. I want to come to Fred, Jamie, and I want to talk to you about him. So I'm going to give you a few of the stats, as Stu will be delighted to hear again. 47 touches, 6 duels won, 5 tackles, 3 crosses, 3 times possession won, 3 shots, 2 clearances, 2 touches in the opponent's box, 1 shot, 1 goal, and also something that goes unsung a lot and not talked about enough, 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 6 games at Old Trafford.
Yeah, like I said this backstage, that I, like many United fans, have to sit and eat a bit of humble pie about Fred, because 18 months ago I was sat talking about the fact that that Shakhtar had our pants down 50 million. I don't understand what his role is in this team, and I genuinely think it was such a high profile case of misprofiling. He was being played in a double pivot alongside Scott, who equally we didn't know what his side was. When Fred is played next to Casemiro, or just even next to a defined number 6, we see why he is one of the first choice midfielders for Brazil, and we see what he brings. Everything that Stu just said then, like about we've had flair and stuff. When was that time we had steel? Fred brings that sort of steel to this side. Like when it comes to like sort of winning second balls, ball recoveries, like even just that bit that he does in attacking transition, where he picks the ball up in our sort of defensive third and helps progress the ball, whether that's through picking up a pass or whether it's driving the ball. What I've seen of him, especially under Ten Hag, he's been phenomenal at it. He pops up in some of the best positions because no one tracks him. This little 5'8", Samba magician just seems to pop up and go, "I'm here, I'll take the ball," and here we go. Like, here's the equaliser. And tonight, every time he was in a position to either win the ball or to press the runner or whatever, he executed his job perfectly, and he was so good at everything that he did tonight that I will hold my hands up, and I've said this multiple times already, but I will say again that I am so sorry for ever doubting Fred. That man was so horrendously misprofiled for 3 years at Old Trafford that I started to question whether or not he was ever good enough. He is good enough. Like, he is absolutely good enough to play at the theatre every week. Alongside Casemiro, he might not be our long-term starter in the 8 or whatever, and I get that. And there's other players out there that are better than him. And yeah, and I see like Jarvis's comments and Richard's comments there about him being a little bit hit and miss at times, and that is true depending on how he's deployed. We saw the exact same thing, the Jekyll and Hyde of Fred against Leeds. That in one half he can be that sort of McFred, and in the other half he can be the Fred that we know alongside Casemiro. But tonight, I won't remember that 20, 30-minute period in the first half where he was a bit lackadaisical because we all were quite off the pace. The penalty really sucked the atmosphere, and it sucked the passion and the drive out of the players because they were a bit like, well, what's going on. But he came back out, and my word, that man runs, that man covers every blade of grass, that man runs after every second ball. And one thing he's getting better at as well is avoiding picking up needless yellow cards. We all love a shithouse tackle in the dying minutes and stuff like that. He's getting better at making sure that the shithouse tackle he makes doesn't result in a booking. So I think he was spectacular tonight. And then as well, and we might talk about him a little bit later, but as well as having Fred, the fact that we also have Sabitzer as well, that could have then come on and played the exact same role. We talk about squad depth, and teams that have great squad depth are the ones that go really far into all these competitions. We're now the only side left in Europe that has a chance at winning all 4 trophies. Whether we're going to win the Premier League or whether we're even a title race is obviously a moot point at the minute. But mathematically, we're the only side in Europe that can still compete on four fronts. So we're going to need all the depth that we can get. Fred and Sabitzer are both really similar profile players. They're both they both excel in their roles. So knowing that we can play both of them, we can play one of them. One of them can be subbed off the other one. Against Newcastle, I don't know whether we're going to play Sabitzer, whether we're going to play Fred next to Casemiro or whatever. But it's such a good feeling.
What a lovely problem to have.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
What a lovely problem to have.
Remember back in the day, when we signed under Van Gaal, when we signed the Schmidfield, right? When we brought in Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin.
I was so ready for those two.
Yeah, and that is what this midfield is. What we thought the Schmidfield was going to be is what this current midfield gives us. We obviously set up in a 4-3-3, whatever. We play with 3 in the midfield. It doesn't really work like that. It never really works like that in execution. We always sort of have like a fluid front 4, and it's Casemiro and Fred that dominate that midfield third, and they do it so well. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not getting caught up in a hype train because we've just won. Do you know what I mean? I'm a rational man. You all know this, but tonight was just spectacular.
There you go. Red Fred Redemption always seems to have a bit of a poor first half. Seems to come into his own. It'd be nice to see it over 90 minutes, but he certainly pulled some strings today. And Ayamode, I don't know if I would pronounce it right, and I apologise, but good to have her with us anyway. And United for life. That's exactly how we feel. Right, moving on to Bruno Fernandes. Could have scored in the first few minutes. I think anyone would have put the mortgage on it. And then obviously gives away the penalty. Had a bit of a flippant first half, but came into his own in the second half. And I come to you on this, Hammer.
This is where we're going to have a debate about Bruno. I can feel it. Feel it.
I'm just trying to set you all up. But Hammer, I'm going to get your opinion on him. But just to give you some more stats, as Stu always loves, Europa League, he's had 17 shots and 31 chances created. In the Premier League, he's had 46 shots and 63 chances created. And he has the most attacking sequences, and that's a combination of chances created and shots, in the Premier League and the Europa League this season. He tops both the charts. So listen, he might have his quiet games. We might get frustrated with him, but he's some player, isn't he, Hammer?
Yeah, man, he is one hell of a player. And, especially when you go to statistics and you want to talk about the minutes he's played, the consistency, the fact that, and it's a problem that we've had with several players throughout different teams in the recent years, is people being injured and all this type of stuff, plus actually putting up the numbers for goals and assists. Today, yes, he should have had that goal. I was pissed. All I was thinking was that was the exact one that you played to Rashford, and Rashford slotted it. Why the hell can't you slot it? So I was a little frustrated when he missed that. But I think the thing with Bruno is, and I've seen more and more people talking about it recently, on Twitter and social media and stuff, is the amount that he brings to the rest of the game. The amount of pressing, the amount of passing, when he's not trying to do the Hollywood passes all the time, he's actually doing smart things and decent things. He brings so much more to the game between pressing and pressing up high, and then also helping with control in the midfield. Was kicking.
Love this comment here, yeah. All those stats, and Bruno's best moment was kicking the ball into DeJong's ribs. Probably a yellow card, to be fair, but why not? If the whistle hasn't gone, I think every one of us would have done exactly the same. And as we said, like him or love him, we love that shithousery. Right. In the next round, we could possibly face Sevilla, Juve, Sporting Lisbon, Leverkusen, Union Berlin, Roma, or Rennes, Shakhtar Donetsk. We'd take all those, wouldn't we, Stu?
Roma.
Uh,
Roma. Look, I'd fancy us to beat any of those. Absolutely right. I don't think Shakhtar Donetsk are any good anymore. Rennes, Sporting, I think all those are winnable games. Union Berlin would be a tough ask. They're a decent outfit, Union Berlin are.
They're not really pushing for the Bundesliga as well.
Yeah, they're not fancied. They're not a fanciable team, so to speak, but they're a good outfit. Very, very well organised. I've seen a bit of Bundesliga this year for obvious reasons, and they're very well organised. Look, Sevilla, everybody would say straight away, let's just avoid Sevilla. Look, I don't care who we get. I really don't. I never bother with knockout. It doesn't matter to me who we get, because eventually you've got to beat teams to get to the final. You've got to play whoever it is, and it just doesn't matter. People always say to me, if there's Real Madrid, we want to avoid Real Madrid, we want to avoid it. Why? So go out and play football. Back yourselves to win. Put it away in your pocket again. Play the next league game or FA Cup match or whatever we've got left before the return leg, and just go and win. It's a game of football at the end of the day. So I don't mind, Mark. To be honest, I really don't mind. Juve would be a lovely one, wouldn't it? Juve would be a fabulous one to get.
Lissandro Martinez smashing Angel Di Maria and the advertising boards like Ashley Young did all them years ago.
Plus, we'll get a good look at Vlahovic, who was my choice for striker, by the way, in the summer. But we'll get a good look at Vlahovic. He's been pretty. Just by the way, and I don't want to say this, by the way, Lewandowski's what, 32? 34. How good is he still? I mean, seriously.
One of my friends is a Bayern fan, so he was pissed that he left for Barca.
He scored 24 goals again for the.
I wish I could run like that and look like that at 34 years old.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Great player, but So I suppose Roma or people would say Roma in the final, maybe.
Pog will be there.
Yeah, Pog will have to play a minute for that to happen. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
No, he's not. He's dead. He's dying slowly.
He ain't gonna want to be healthy to come back to Old Trafford.
Not at all.
But that's how I view it, Mark. I really do. I don't mind. I'm guessing you guys are the same.
I asked you just because we spoke about the potential matchups next round. I had a list of them, wanted to say them, but listen. I've said this for a long, long time. We cannot, on one hand, say, you remember 1999, we had to beat Juve, we had to beat this team, we had to beat Bayern, and we're all proud of that. We can talk about that. And then on the other hand, say, you know what, I hope we get Shakhtar next round. I hope we get Rennes next round. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Once you go past that white line, as Stu likes to say, you play your game of football. And listen, we're not getting ahead of ourselves here. We can all see it. We've seen it for week in, week out. It's not just a nice little period that we're going through. We're a great team, a great footballing team that's playing very, very well, that's got a good squad of players that really do trust, and we're seeing all of the right things from Ten Hag and what he's instilling. And I believe that we can go on and beat absolutely anybody at the minute, and that's what we want. I
totally agree. And Ten Hag, by the way, guys, Ten Hag won't give a damn who we get. If we got in the draw, okay, fine.
We'll be ready.
Yeah, we got Juventus, stick it on the board. That's the date. Leave it alone. He won't care. He won't give a damn. You concentrate on your next game, your next game, your next game, and your next game. Because how many games have we got in March? Anyone know?
Let me have a look.
A few. Well, this is you make a stunning point now. One of the things that I love the most about Ten Hag is that we could be winning the game 5-6-0, right? And someone would misplace a pass and he would still chew them out. And he would still drag them into the changing room at full time or whatever. And he'd still sit there and be like, what are you playing at? What are you doing? And for me, like, as much as we love, like with Ollie, and I know people get frustrated about going back to Ollie stuff, but I think one of his drawbacks was that he got a bit too emotional sometimes. He got a little bit too over enamored with the romanticization of the game. I don't think Ten Hag looks at it like that. I don't think Ten Hag's asked about anything. Like Ten Hag tonight was just excited as a football fan to be like, Barcelona are coming to Old Trafford. He's not over enamored. He's not over enamored about the. Go on,
I was supposed to say real quick. He did some G shit at the end. It was only on the camera for like a few seconds, but after he shook the ref's hands, all that did that, and the players just start to go down to the fans to clap the fans. I don't think he fully clapped. I saw him stand there, watch the players, had a little smug look on his face, and turned around and walked back down the tunnel. I was like, he doesn't give a shit that we just knocked Barcelona out. Next game up, let's go.
Exactly. And he will be sat there tonight, like you're spot on, because he'll be sat there tonight now, looking at the Newcastle plan. And this man will not get over enamored with the history and like obviously he'll indulge himself and he'll surround himself in the history of the club, and he gets that. He was asked about when he was chatting to whoever it was, I blank now, like Van Persie and Scholes and Hargreaves on the sideline tonight. And they were saying, when you spoke to Fergie and stuff like that, do you still feel Fergie's legacy at the club? And he gets the legacy of this club, but he doesn't let it define him. He's here to write his own page in the United history book, which is cliche and it's cringe, and I get that. But he's not.
I'd listen to that all day, every day.
He's an end of the season guy, isn't he? He is.
Oh yeah. I guarantee you, when we have our end of the season meal, when we're allowed to have one,
Jamie's paying. Jamie's paying.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm talking about the United one, not our one.
Oh, we're having one as well now, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But when United have their end of season award meal and stuff like that, it's been suspended a couple of times because of the poor results. Blah blah blah. Ten Hag will be the first one there with about 5 bottles of wine, and he'll get pissed and he'll have a great time. And he will 100%, like you say, he'll be one of those coaches. And in the same way that like Van Gaal was, is that one of the things I did love about Van Gaal, his football was questionable, but he was big. He was a big character. Do you know what I mean? And again, he was tactical. He cared about, right, 90 minutes done. What's the next game? He never got over enamored by the gravity of the fixtures that were coming up. Ten Hag has not moaned once about our fixture congestion. No. Certain men in Liverpool.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Certain men in Liverpool sit there and they moan about corruption in the FA and things like that, and how it was different in Germany. Ten Hag has sat here and been dealt a terrible hand. Newcastle had 3 games before the final. We had 7. In that period before when we last played the second leg against Nottingham Forest or whatever it was, and Newcastle played against Southampton, they had 3 games till the final. We had 7. And Ten Hag just went, mint, more football that we can play, because the guy loves football. Well, do you know what I mean?
To be honest, lads, I mean, obviously, as Jarvis has corroborated what I was saying, I obviously talk to Ten Hag on a regular basis and tell him what he needs to do to get the very best out of the squad. As you can see, I did call that earlier on in the night, and I'm only joking. It's what I would do, though. It's a sensible option, isn't it? Get to London tonight. It's a sensible option. Get down there at 2 o'clock in the morning, get rested, have you warmed down.
And maybe get two days training in.
Exactly.
Rather than one whole day.
It's the right way to do it.
Ten Hag has come out and said a few things, so I'm just going to quickly come to those. And Hammer, obviously, we've not had you on for a long time, mate, so I just want to get a sort of brief overview on your thoughts on Ten Hag. Obviously, we've spoken wax lyrical about him for many, many weeks on end now, but I want to hear yours. Anyway, he says... whether this is as big as win, he said, yes, I think so. We had some really good wins, but with Barcelona 8 points leader in the Liga, if you beat them, it's a big win. We know what that we can bring Anthony and Garnacho. You get speed, running behind, dribbles and belief. I think we have some great personalities in the team like Rafa, Varane and Licha, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, of course. And then he talks about the Europa League draw. It doesn't matter for me, as you've just said, Jamie. I focus on Newcastle United. If you are well prepared, we can do it. So, Hammer, talk to me. Oh, actually, he did send in a picture just after, and I don't know if this is legit. It looks legit to me, but I don't know. Anyway, Hammer, your turn.
I mean, I'm sure some of what I'm thinking about Ten Hag is stuff that people have been talking about already. The ability. I'll go from the start to the ability to so quickly implement what he wants the team to do, the players to do, the style to play, the discipline, the energy, the effort, all of it, to do that so fast with really I know we had some decent, right? Obviously, right, Martinez has changed helped change our back four. Casemiro's helped transform our midfield by himself, right? So yes, those are big signings and they're important, but the fact that he has the squad from top to bottom, even when we bring in guys who, like Garnacho today. I mean, I think Garnacho needs to stay as a while for an impact sub because what he does off the bench is great. And that little run where he got Busquets booked, right, where he bursted through them.
Yeah, it was nice, that.
I was sitting there going, kid, you got 3 people around you. Pass the ball. You got 3 people around you. Pass the ball, and then he just poked it through him and took off. I was like, that's crazy, So he's instilled his way of playing in such a quick amount of time. Instilled a mentality in this team in such a quick amount of time that usually and you've seen it in the last few years, right? Where and Jamie went to grab another bottle. We see it in the last few with some of the coaches,
Cheers,
like with Ole and everything like that. He's like, oh, we need to give Ole time. I mean, I would cheers what I want to, but I don't think that mine's not a drink. But with Ole and stuff, right? You talk about Ole needs time, Ole needs the players. No, Ten Hag just said, okay, give me who you can give me right now, and I'm going to do a job, and that's what he's doing. So I think his tactical ability as well as his man management. We haven't seen great man management in Manchester United, probably since Sir Alex retired, right? Like and for me, it's one of the biggest things that I look at in coaching in general when it comes to sports. You have
I think we've had many managers that are good at one thing and not the other. Ollie was a great man manager. Mourinho, once upon a time at least, was a good manager.
Well,
Van Gaal, if he was given a bit more time, I think he probably deserved a bit better. But this man has come in and he's got it all.
Well, no, this is what I say though. Ole, okay, he may be good at keeping people happy or something like that, but I would say he had lacking in his man management because you also need the other side of it, right? You need to be able to stick people in their place, like Bruno said in that little interview, right? He did it with Ronaldo. He did it when Rashford came late. I don't know if Sancho was a disciplinary reason, right? But he was like, all right, Sancho, you're not up to par right now. Go get yourself sorted out. So, Ole might have been good at keeping people happy, but Ten Hag is good at keeping people in place on the right track.
Spot on, by the way.
Right?
I fully agree with that.
So that's what I mean in terms of that. And I think with Ten Hag, we have the balance of both. And man management to me is one of the biggest things in sports. I love that. I'm so happy people are starting to call him that now. Bruno Fernandes is happy.
Saying my name. Crikey.
But yeah, I'll just end it with saying that I think God damn it. Sorry, I had a.
I'm so sorry, mate. I'm doing all sorts of stuff and throwing everyone off their trail of thought. I do apologise,
he has
mate.
tonight, hasn't he? Shocking.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's been good fun though, right? It's been good.
No, it has. The ending part was just I think man management is such an important part of coaching and managing in sports overall, not just football. Because yes, we have some young people in there, but overall, when you're looking at professional sports, you're coaching grown ass men. Right. And you can't talk to every grown ass man the same way that you talk to the other. So if you can sit there and figure out how to get the best out of every individual on your team as a manager, that's I don't think many managers can do that,
Absolutely right. Very, very well summed up, actually, Hammer. Absolutely spot on. We are.
How would you know, Mark? You were too busy trying to distract the man.
Listen, I am so good at multitasking, I'll have you know, and I can do it all, mate. So up yours. Anyway, moving back, I just wanted to mention, obviously, this weekend we will be doing a reaction. Unfortunately, Jamie can't be on the show because he's at the game, but I hope you enjoy it, brother. But we will be doing,
28 years, and I can't get a ticket.
There you go. Well, if you go through the back routes like Jamie has, you might be all right next time. But anyway, we're going to do a reaction this weekend. Obviously, it could be very positive or it could be very negative, of course, but we're looking to do it a couple of hours after. But what we're looking to do is to get some of you viewers on for a couple of minutes each. So we will be giving the link out to a lot of you. You're going to have myself, Stu, Fred, who you see on quite a few occasions, and Sean as well, who you've seen a lot more of recently. But of course, we want to get everyone involved. So obviously, hopefully it's going to be a positive result, but if it's a negative one, we still want to get people on, share your thoughts and that kind of thing. So get in touch. We will be sending it out, and please tune in. Share it with your mates, share it with your family, share it with everyone. We want to have you all on. Right. With that all out the way, I'm just going to quickly come to Hammer and ask him what he thought on Anthony's goal, and then we will do the match ratings. And I'm expecting very, very high numbers tonight, guys, but no pressure. Hammer, Anthony and his strike.
Anthony's goal, I think the reaction is what I said earlier on a little bit, is I lost my shit. Right, I sat there after the game before we hopped on, and I jumped on the video. I was trying to think of when last I lost it, and I think it was in college. All right, I think I was still in university. It was the Manchester Derby where we came back and won 3-2. That was the last time I lost my shit watching a game. So the fact that I jumped out of my chair and threw my phone, like that was a ridiculous goal. And if that kid, I think I tweeted out, if that kid can get some assists in his game, whichever foot, left or right foot, he doesn't need to learn how to use his right foot, but if he can get some assists in his game, he is going to be a problem for years to come just because of that left foot.
Yeah, absolutely right. But needs to be a little bit more dynamic with his right, though. Let's be honest. Needs to improve that. We've said that. Very, very left-footed, unfortunately. But a very good player. Obviously, he was wonderful when he came on. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Fred has got me in bits in the background. He's clipping up people's comments. So I'll just read these out to you quickly before we come to the ratings. He said he appears to be this butterfly wizard, and this was at 10:05 tonight by Stu. And then, of course, you've got mine. If you go through the back routes like Jamie, you'll be all right. Marc,
Also,
22:46.
Also, like, I still think go through the back routes. I don't go through any back routes. Make it sound like I'm buying tickets off some black market dealer or something like that. Like again, like I'm paying $2,000 an hour Ranger to sort me out of a ticket. I've just got I've got a friend who manages to have a spare season ticket that I've been using, and we've managed to get, because I was at Forest. You know what I mean? I've been to my League Cup games this season.
Jamie, I had a few friends in university too who he was able to get me stuff a lot of times.
I got stiffed because I bought the Carabao Cup ticket. I bought
Fred's going to clip that one up now.
Europa League tickets. I didn't buy the FA Cup ticket, so I couldn't get in the ballot.
Oh, that's a bit shit.
Oh.
I do. To be fair, the whole balloting system this year definitely has been a farce. Like, obviously, I know people that have cup season tickets who haven't been able to get a ticket to the cup final, which is mad. But
and listen, just so everyone knows, Jamie doesn't do anything illegally, and I just like to wind him up all the time. But I mean it in jest, and he knows I'm joshing with him too. Right. Finally, lovely pieces for everyone. Really enjoyed that. It's good fun. David De Gea, and I'm going to come to you, Stu.
He gets a 7.
7.
Yeah, I thought he was all right tonight. I didn't mind. I know I'm going to get. Well, what about that kick? Blah 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 blah. But he's there when we need him. The last 6 weeks, he's been there when we actually need him. And no, I thought today he did okay, to be fair. So I'm going to go 7.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Listen,
Jamie gives him a 2.
Made a really poor judgment when there was 3 Barcelona players between him and the player that he was passing to, and it almost put us into shit street. However, played pretty well on the whole, and made 2 wonderful saves at least. And listen,
he was good today.
He was good. He's improving all the time with his ball playing skills and playing out from the back. Made a bit of a mistake today. Didn't cost us. Who cares? Right. Moving on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I will give that to you, Jamie.
just put it out there, just to backtrack. Obviously, I don't have a David De Gea agenda at all. Like, I know that Twitter has divided itself into, because Twitter loves to have a problem with United. Do you know what I mean? Like Twitter United fans love to separate themselves into 2 sets, regardless of how good things are. Like at one point it was Martial versus Rashford stands, and then it was Pogba versus Bruno stands, and now it seems to be, De Gea out, De Gea in. I am not a De Gea outist at all. De Gea frustrates me at times because
me too.
Yes, he got away with one tonight. Like that kick just frustrates me and sums up what De Gea does that winds me up, and we do need to look for a replacement. Like, I'm not saying that he's so poor that we need to be bringing in a replacement immediately, but long term, David De Gea needs to be phased out in the most polite way we can phase out a servant of this club who is the record clean sheet holder now, I think, or at least joint record clean sheet holder. He's joint. He's joint. Yeah, I was going to say it always seems to change, and he's the last person in this squad that's won a Premier League title with United. So it's one of those that you can find a middle ground. But just to clarify before I go onto Wan-Bissaka, De Gea was good tonight, he was also frustrating at points. Like the two things can mutually exist.
Can. Absolutely right.
Wan-Bissaka, I thought tonight was fantastic. There was a couple of moments that he frustrated me a little bit, but that was at a period where the team were frustrating anyway. Wan-Bissaka does this thing that I've never seen any other footballer in the world ever do, where he has this big touch on him, right? And it looks like he's miscontrolled a pass, but actually he's just played it to himself.
It's perfect. He's done that on 3 occasions tonight.
He does it so... honestly, it's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen.
I think if it catches us by surprise, you can imagine the players on the field are getting caught by it. It happens so often.
Because he'll do it, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. And then all of a sudden, he's back under control of the ball because he's managed to use that touch to play it around the player. And look, I think he was fantastic tonight. He was fluid. There was that one point where, yes, his delivery was poor, but he ended up in the left half space, and he tried to put a ball in. And it was just like to see that determination and that flexibility from a man that used to be nothing more than a slide tackle to some people is really good. And to do it on, probably one of the biggest nights of the season, I think he was fantastic for the 70 minutes that he played, 60, 70 minutes that he played until Dalot came on. I'd give Wan-Bissaka a 7.
Yeah, I think you're right. And he's going to have to be checking his pockets when he get home, when he touches down in London, that's for absolute sure. Jarvis, David De Gea, 8, confident on the ball, fantastic on his line. Reece with a 7. Everyone get their comments in. Give us your ratings for everyone as well. Go through it with us. Disagree with us. Agree with us. Whatever you want to do. Give us your ratings. 7 from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And he said also, just stand the club you support. Now, this is very, very easy, Reece, when you support 72 different clubs. But there you go. Right, moving on to Rafa Varane. I'm glad I tickled you, Jamie. Moving on to Rafa Varane. Hammer, your overview of him and your rating for me, please, buddy.
I mean, I think I'm going to have to go. I don't like giving overly high stuff, so I never try to give 9s or 10s. So I think I'm going to have to go to an 8. And I think there was him and Martinez in the back there. Even when there's times where you might think they look shaky, they still seem to get things under control. And then of course at the end there, that was a game-saving goal, a goal line clearance. I guess he wasn't exactly on the goal line, but he was close enough.
Do.
Yeah. So I'll give him an 8. He played great, and I think the intensity, because I feel like at Madrid he was right. Who was he? He was always next to either Ramos or was he ever next to Pepe? Yeah, Pepe. He was next to 2 psychopaths, so he didn't have to be crazy. And he's next to another psychopath now, but I feel like I'm seeing some fight and some energy that I think he's known for more of the calm person, but he's showing some fight and some energy as well. So yeah, damn, you give him a 9 as a part. I mean, yeah. I just don't like giving though. I don't like going that.
Listen, I thought they were both superb tonight, and I think 8, 9, or 10 I would agree with every single one of those, and so whatever you give them. But partnership, I mean, we've said about this so many times, haven't we, all season. I can't honestly, sometimes I get emotional talking about them both. It's so great to see 2 centre backs.
Do you remember that? It makes me think of that video of that old boy that sat there talking about Wan-Bissaka. He's like, he gets that ball back so much.
Yeah.
I was about to do that, and I was about to cry, but you've thrown me off there, Jamie. Anyway, let's move on to the man of the moment we were just talking about, Licha Martinez. Stu.
He gets an ace. What can you say, really? I thought the way that Hammer summed up Varane would be equally the same for our good old friend Martinez, so he gets an 8 from me.
We definitely need to get Hammer on again, don't we? It's been too long, brother, and you speak sense, and that's exactly what we like on this show. Jarvis in the comments here, Martinez a 9, had a brilliant battle with Lewandowski, almost too aggressive, but he never flinches. I want
to comment on that too. How the hell? Because it was the whole height thing. I don't understand how he's keeping up. Because wasn't he also getting stuck into Haaland?
You'll have to ask Jamie Carragher about that.
Yeah. I mean, there was 2 occasions as well tonight that he outjumped and beat Lewandowski to a ball.
I don't know how he wins the headers that he does.
He did, but Lewandowski just kept on coming. He keeps on coming, and Martinez just keeps on pushing.
Yeah,
Fred's going to clip that
Fred is rubbing his hands together tonight, and he is having a fucking field day.
It's the mark of two top elite footballers. You just keep going at each other. Absolutely brilliant. And to be honest, did he get the better of Lewandowski? I thought Lewandowski was superb tonight.
Yeah,
I thought what a. I mean, I was surprised just how good he was tonight. I really, I'm tired. Yeah, he was good, but Martinez, I thought held him well. So yeah.
Absolutely right. Right, let's move on to Trevor in the comments here first, actually. Evening, Mark. Oh, I'm not reading this shit. I love it and I appreciate it, but Gilles, the best command could get. He's always saying this, but no, I appreciate it. Thank you, but that's not what it's about tonight, but thank you anyway. Good to have you with us, buddy. Just ask Carragher how it feels to doubt a world-class player. After all, he did not play with any. Absolutely right. Right, let's move on to Gilberto Carlos. Hammer.
Oh, fine. I just go kill myself.
I'm coming back to you, brother. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
I was keeping you on your toes. You see, well done.
I think Shaw has gotten back, or at least close to his best, and he is the best. Oh yeah, you want a rating? God damn it. I guess 7 or 8 for Shaw as well, and I think for him, it's the consistency that's really impressing me now. It's what kind of frustrated me in some of his other years, right? He would, and not to be a dick, right, but he would get a little chubby, right? He'd put on some weight and he would lose some consistency, lose some pace and all that. He seems to be hungry, seems to be fighting, and he seems to be keeping that consistency.
He got chubby.
You've done so well. I tell you what, that segue between getting chubby and having that hunger was perfect, Hammer.
But yeah, I'll give him a 7 or an 8, and I think he's doing really well. And it's crazy that he's doing well both in his position and in the games when I don't know whether it's injury or rest or whatever, and we're putting him in at left center back. So yeah, I'll give him great credit today. He was a consistent part of the team and helped keep that back four steady. Once we got control of the game, right? Like when we weren't being all shaky.
Absolutely. And also just on that, because I think Hammer's spot on there, but. Again, it's one of those that Luke Shaw being back to this elite level, and don't get it twisted. Again, he is an elite fullback. Like he's one of the best fullbacks in the world, like without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. The man nearly lost a leg. The man nearly lost his leg. Like,
did you see the scars? That picture of his leg. That's horrific, man.
And also, I didn't know it was that scarred up.
Yeah, and I mean, it was Hector Moreno, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was Hector Moreno that challenged him, and he was given man of the match that game against PSV. And it was just one of those to see a man who, again, nearly lost his leg after having, that operation that he did, to see him get back to this level is just, and Hammer's spot on there with his description.
Imagine anybody that breaks their leg would struggle to get back to doing anything, right? The simple, mundane tasks. And this man, unbelievable, had a double leg break. Was not right for a number of years with various managers and obviously confidence and all that, and now he's playing out of his skin.
And honestly, I challenge anyone to tell me a better left back this season in the Premier League, and to at least name me 3 better left backs.
No, I agree. I think he'll get team of the season. I've been saying this for the last 4 or 5 months. Absolutely right. Lots of people agree with you anyway, Hammer, in the comments. Another consistent 8 performance. Loved his aggression, says Jarvis. Another 8. And Trevor, for sure, to be even walking with that limp is a miracle. Never mind coming back to the level he's playing at. Absolutely spot on. Right, moving on to Casemiro, Jamie.
Yeah. Also, just quickly before we go on to that, there's just a couple of so the comment about that Fred made about don't disrespect Phil Jones because he also won a Premier League title. I literally said plays in this Man United squad, and I'm pretty sure Phil Jones is not in this Man United squad anymore. Like I'm pretty sure he was taken out.
And I'm pretty sure Phil Jones insults himself at times and laughs about it. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one was Jarvis's comment about Aaron Wan-Bissaka 8. Who would have thought he was going to be this good 3 months ago? I'm pretty sure there was a panel with me on about 3-4 months ago saying Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a top class fullback. He will be back. So, and I've always loved Wan-Bissaka. Do you know what I mean? Just putting it out there.
Jamie with breaking news. Anyway, Casemiro, go
on. Again, he's the best. He's the best defensive midfielder in the world. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah, 100%.
When we announced him, and it was me, Reese, and Jamie did the show to announce him, and we spoke about, you know, maybe some reservations around his age, but we didn't think that was going to be a hindrance, that he was going to be a class midfielder. He's shown it time and time again. And again, he has just excelled every expectation that we've ever had for him. Tonight, again, he was just in El Clasico mode. He won't fucking about. He won't take any prisoners. That booking that he got was literally, 30 seconds after Busquets had just got that one.
Yeah.
For putting his hands on Garnacho. Casemiro's got that booking on purpose. 100%. He's been like, you're gonna touch our star boy like that. Like, watch me throw your team about.
He almost threw him, didn't he?
No,
I was a bit concerned
did.
he might have got a bit more than that, but
he put his hand away at the last second, but he did throw him.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, but that's in his blood. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he wants to do. He's a Real Madrid boy. He hates Barcelona, and now he plays for the biggest club in the world. And we don't like Barcelona either. Do you know what I mean? So the fixture suited him perfectly tonight. The atmosphere, the environment, and the stakes. The stakes were high.
Listen, I know Casemiro and Varane have had sensational seasons, but we said this last time. Actually, they really came into their own for those two games against Barcelona.
100%. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they've got Real Madrid shirts on underneath their United tops, you know what I mean? Just to really G themselves up and get them into that mode. But I think he was spectacular tonight. I think we've done really well to come through his 3-game suspension in the way that we did.
7 points in 3 games, not bad, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the draw at Leeds. Sorry, the draw against Leeds at Old Trafford was, a real misnomer. You know, just because we fell asleep in the opening 2 minutes of each half. We could still come away with the draw was decent, but then to go to Welland Road and pick up the win, and then obviously to beat Leicester in the way we did, without our talisman. And he is the only 6 that we have in that squad. Like we were talking about before, like the reason Fred's coming to his own is because we're playing the correct players in the correct positions. Sabitzer and Fred are far too similar for them to have played together, and we see that when Casemiro's out of the squad versus when he's in it, he adds so much. Fred, so in the opening. To be fair, and I know it might be a good sample size because people have their disagreements about how well we played, but in that opening half, Fred sat on Frankie DeJong, Bruno Fernandes was occupying that sort of right half space. Casemiro was the only midfielder that we had marshalling the midfield on his own and protecting the back four, and he did it well. Barca's only shot on half for shot on target, for 55, 60 minutes was a penalty.
Yeah.
And he did well. So for me, again, he's another 8 tonight. He is phenomenal. He's 31. He was 31 yesterday? What a birthday present that is for him. And you know what? Is it today? Is his birthday today?
Happy birthday, Casemiro.
But that's what I mean. What better birthday present can you have than knocking Barcelona out of a European competition? And he's one of those. He's only going to get better with age. But we've said it before. We need to be looking for his eventual replacement now. We need to let them learn from the best defensive midfielder of a generation. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he is up there. He is up there. And coming to United, the doubters that he had, the people saying, and when I say people, you know what I'm talking about, the likes of Graham Souness and stuff like that, questioning the money, questioning whether or not he's coming here for a payday. Like, you tell me from that performance whether he's come here for a payday, whether he's come to play in the theatre in front of that crowd and knock Barcelona out of European competitions, man. Like, what a man he is. What a man.
What a man indeed. And as Trevor says, class is permanent no matter what age. This is what I keep telling myself every week, and it gets me through. Absolutely right. Right, before I come on to Fred and Stu, we are running over, so I do need to try and wrap this up if we can and sort of speed it up a bit. But I've enjoyed this very much. I hope everyone in the comments has as well. Make sure you like and subscribe and sharing. And as I said, I'll repeat what I said about the final this weekend. So I want you all back here, getting your comments in there. It's been really, really good conversation, guys. So, Ten Hag, not only is he a great man manager, is he a great tactician, is he a genius, he's also great with analogies. And he said Fred's role was to stop Frankie DeJong and be like a mosquito all over him. I love it. Absolutely love it. With that in mind, Stu, Fred.
Fred gets a 9 for me. Actually, he had an average at best first half. We all know that. But he was a catalyst for us winning this game of football, and we all know that. And you don't have to play well for 90 minutes to get man of the match. You can play well for 20 minutes and get man of the match in a game. It's what you do to affect your team. And he was superb, so 9 for me. One quick thing. Ten Hag is a great tactician, but so is old Steve McLaren. Don't ever underestimate the work that Steve McLaren's doing.
We have spoken about this before. Just quickly,
it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that we are playing some of the best football we played under Ten Hag, under McLaren, Fergie and McLaren. There's no coincidence. It's no coincidence.
Yeah, our best style of football under Sir Alex Ferguson, even though he gave us 26 wonderful years, was when Steve McLaren was there. And it's
Fred was my man on the match, by the way, guys. I thought he was our catalyst, I felt, for the win.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Fred getting a 10 here by Reese. Lots of people absolutely going nuts about Fred tonight. Brilliant goal, Brazilian style scoring with his leg. Shin, maybe. Tenacity. It doesn't matter how you score it. Get it in. You know what I mean? No. Tenacity and covers the ground like no one else. Never stops running. In a strange way, like our Ji-sung Park. Absolutely workhorse, to be honest. A lot more cleaner, I think, Ji-sung Park at the best of times, but certainly similar work rate. That's absolutely sure. Right, moving on to Bruno Fernandes, and I will give him to Jamie.
The opinion
divider. The opinion divider. And I agree with Stu's comment about Fred being man of the match. Bruno was my man of the match. I'm not precious about either.
No, I can see why.
That's what I mean. I'm not precious about either of them because they were both phenomenal. They were both our best players, I think, across the 90 tonight. I think Bruno continues to divide opinions. I think he's a good litmus test for people that watch him week in, week out, and people that just see clips of him, or just people that watch him in brief spells, or people that look at stats. But for me, like, he tonight was just he was on a different plane in terms of G'ing everyone up. Everything he wanted to make happen, he continued to try and make it happen, and it was really well supported by the little interview that Hammer mentioned before that was clipped up. When he talks about the fact that if he misplaces 7 passes a game, he doesn't care as long as one of them connects. And that, for me, sums up Bruno so much as a player that I'd rather have a midfielder like him.
That's the type of player he is. I've said to you before, his role and the way that he's a ball progressor, and whether he plays in the 10 or the 8, that's what his job is. And that makes him a risky player. And with risk, it's a risk for a reason. You play nine passes, maybe only 7 of them come off, but it's the right ones that do. And exactly what you were saying there.
Yeah, and he was unlucky. He was unlucky to not score in that opening 10 minutes, or whatever. But it's one of those that, and I know this is a weird gambit to throw, but if you'd have given me the option of him scoring but then disappearing for the rest of the game, or not scoring and having the performance he did, I'd have chosen that he didn't score and had that performance, because he was so tenacious. He was running, he was pressing, he covered the ground. And the only bit that I disagreed with you at the start, when you said about people, no one wanted to run towards the end, is that Bruno, every single second of that 90 minutes presses the ball. That man is the embodiment of what is good about this club. And you can tell he loves this club to death. He would play for this club for free. I think he would play, if we allow him, he will play until his career ends. Because he loves Manchester United, and it comes out tonight. On occasions like this, he's the captain for a reason. I think he's the club captain in waiting, and he's just, for me, he's the best signing post Fergie. He is spectacular, and he will divide opinion, and I get that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell people their opinions are wrong. But for me, like, that man is he is Manchester United and a footballer. He's not afraid to try, risky passes. He's not afraid to stick his body on the line. He'll pick up a booking and stuff like that. And he's a shithouse. Rival fans hate him. And I love that. I love that because every club needs a player that their rival fans hate, because it means that they're doing. If Bruno was shit at football, nobody would hate him because he would be irrelevant.
I agree.
But because the man has some of the best statistics of any midfielder in the history of football, in terms of goals and assists versus games played, etc. And he's just a good footballer. So, look, when we talk about, Trevor smashed it there. When we talk about January signings, when we talk about winter transfer windows and things like that, we talk about, the likes of Patrice Evra and Vidic, and we talk about people bringing in players that are game changers. Bruno Fernandes is top of the tree for January signings. The man is a magician, and I love him. For me, he was a 9 out of 10 man of the match.
Yeah, absolutely spot
I,
on.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, I
Just
think you're spot on.
just on his chance, Jamie, he just overran it, just slightly. If he'd taken his shot a bit earlier, he would have scored.
Same with Rashford, actually. There was another one in the second half where Rashford was going towards the byline, did one too many hits. He should have hit it earlier. Similar position on the other side that he scored against Barcelona.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I said exactly the same then. Right, moving on to Wout Weghorst. I know splits opinion. I still rate him quite highly. We know what we're getting from him. Not scoring goals, but it does a lot off the ball. We've said all this before, but I'm going to give him to you, Hammer. We're going to have to make this very, very quick now, moving forward, guys. So a quick overview and a rating, please, bro.
Yeah, I think it might be a little harsh, but I'm more leaning towards like a 5 or a 6. He wasn't, I get, what people talk about, and yes, I want him to start scoring goals, but I think he struggled a little bit in the first half, which is why he, ended up coming off. And I think maybe just Barcelona was figuring out what he does bring to that build-up play, so they were probably just trying to, keep him out of it. But yeah, 5 or 6. He didn't do anything bad, but he didn't do anything amazing, or do anything great in terms of build-up stuff in that first half.
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And obviously he came off a little bit earlier. Maybe if he'd stayed on, had done a bit more, probably would have got a higher rating. But it is what it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We won 2-1 within the next fucking round. So there you go. Right, moving on to Jadon Sancho. Stu.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think me and Jamie will struggle with both Sancho and Rashford tonight because there wasn't anything from both of them you would actually got you off your seat, apart from Rashford's 2 attempts when he cut in from the right and the left, one that you were talking about. So it pains me, but I have to give Jadon Sancho a 6, I'm afraid. I haven't really got lots to say, unfortunately. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the 6.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think that's very, very fair. He's been an absolute spark since he's come back, and he hasn't been a spark tonight. I think that's why he got hooked. Absolutely spot on. Moving on to Rashford, then you sort of led me to that very nicely there, Stu. Sancho and Rashford, and Rashford is going to Jamie.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and obviously Rashford's my favourite football player in the world. And I agree with Stu that I think Rashford and Sancho tonight, on the pitch didn't really offer much. I think that was a testament as well to Barcelona's game plan, as much as it is a question of, they were a bit poor on the night. I think Rashford was a little bit different to Sancho, and I think his presence in itself offered a bit of an advantage to United at times. I think that Araujo, Koundé, they were both worried by his presence, and you saw that how close they got to him and how tight they got to him, and it freed up a little bit of space for other people to come into the game.
They didn't want that to happen again like last game, did they?
Yeah, exactly. And he was lively, and he operated across all 3 of the front 3 spaces at different points. But yeah, I think it was just one of those nights, and the ridiculous run of form that he's in, he's going to have nights like tonight where he's not going to steal the headlines. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. He still put his work in. As long as, the knock that he picked up, as long as that's not anything major, then we're fine. But yeah, I'd probably give Rashford again a 6, 6.5. I think that Barcelona managed him really, really well. The fact that they sat both of their defenders on him and didn't give him an inch of room, really. But he's still, he had his moments, but it just wasn't to be tonight. But I've got no doubt that he'll respond.
He'll turn up Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it'll fuel him. He'll be sat watching highlights of tonight, frustrating himself, so that on Sunday he can run and smash a ball at Karius. So,
yeah,
can't wait for that. And I hope you're right, Jamie. I hope he smashes a hat-trick. That'd be nice. Right, moving on to not our final player, actually. I'm going to include 2 more subs, rightly so. But have we done all the first 11? Who was the other?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, fucking hell. I'm getting ahead of myself. Right, okay, we're moving on to Anthony then. So one of the subs. So just going to give you a couple of stats first, and then Hammer, over to you, buddy. 100% tackles won. That means fuck all. 11 passes completed, 3 shots, 2 shots on target, and 1 match-winning goal. And goals against Arsenal, Man City, and Barcelona. Hammer, over to you, buddy.
I will give Anthony an 8. Like I said earlier, I very rarely give 9 or 10s just because I feel like you have to do something, like next level type shit to get a 9 or a 10. But he played great. He came on hungry. I can't even remember. I don't know what his little injury was, if it was an injury. And, I think he's one of those players who is, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench, he's ready to go. And he showed that today as soon as he came on, and that goal was sublime. All I need now is for him to shave his head and become Robin.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping that blonde. Oh, sorry. And I know we're going to talk to him. Garnacho, holy shit. He went full blonde. I'm not even talking about game. I'm talking about hair.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, so unfortunately for me, Garnacho gets a 6 based on his hair.
Oh, fuck off,
and this is the generational difference.
Yeah.
No wonder he rates David De Gea
That's
highly,
what
and he doesn't like the hair change.
Do you know what?
I grew up watching football.
I'm gonna come on one day with bleached blonde hair and see if Stu turns up.
I love playing against people who do that, who bleach their hair, or they wear tights to the hamstring, or they got a ponytail, or they got whatever, they've got a beard, or anything like that.
Watch the ponytail.
Yeah, I know. How many times have you pulled a ponytail, Hammer?
Yeah, fuck off, Hammer.
First of all, I have a ponytail. Second of all, if anybody pull my ponytail, they'll catch an elbow the next game.
Exactly. So stuff like that. His hairdresser's got it wrong, hasn't it? There's just something not right about it. He's got it wrong.
This is why, Stu, I don't go to you for my haircuts, and I go to someone else.
Too right.
Right, moving on. Go on.
Yeah,
Jamie.
You've got to let him get this stylistic change out of his system. He needs to find himself as a person so he can find the football. We went through that period, if you remember, with Rashford a couple of years ago, where he dyed his hair and he started wearing, a lot of ice and stuff like that. And it's one of those that footballers are real people, and they'll go through maybe a small identity crisis. Let him discover who he is, and maybe he likes the blonde hair, maybe he likes doing this, blah, 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 blah. And then he'll settle down. I think it looks all right. You know what I mean? Like, I think Garnacho's got pretty wicked hair.
Just a little bit too long.
Yeah. But I mean, if I was running down the left wing playing against Barcelona on a night at the theatre,
what you fucking want,
exactly. I'd be like, brother, I'll go even blonder.
Just Google Romania 1994. I'm sure.
I remember that. I remember that.
Blonde. That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah. Just another little quick stat for you, which is amazing, actually. I ain't got the numbers, but you'll like what you hear. Despite coming on as a 67th minute substitute, only Aaron Wan-Bissaka completed more dribbles than Alejandro Garnacho.
He's special. He's special, man. And honestly, I hope the rumours that we've agreed a new contract with him are true.
Supposedly,
yeah, I think it's all done, isn't it?
It needs to be done. And also, I'd just like to shout out Reese's comment here about Anthony off the ball, because I think he's spot on there. And this is something that people really need to understand, is that missing Anthony through injury has been so evident with our slow starts and some of our lack of performances. He is a stunning right winger, and his price tag is going to hang over his head. But tonight showed exactly why we bought him and why Ten Hag trusts him. And we've spoken about it on this channel. Me and Stu have had lots of conversations about his inability to want to use his right foot. But you see tonight how important he can be.
Yeah, he was good tonight, I have to say. I thought he was good. I thought he added that dimension we've been missing, haven't we, for the last couple of games. And he also has that protection, don't forget, on the right hand side for Wan-Bissaka or Dalot. So he has that protection. And Anthony gets a start for me Sunday. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was.
Yeah, I agree.
The comment here when it was about Sancho, Anthony,
and the 10,
and Bruno behind Rashford. I can't even find where it is. But there you go. Yeah, Anthony, Bruno, Sancho. Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. I mean, Ten Hag will probably want to start Weghorst for the pressing and just to feel out the Newcastle side, because that's what Weghorst provides us. Yeah. He provides us with
phenomenal presser. Phenomenal.
Yes, he's very, very good.
But yeah, I would not be against that. Anthony starting again. And Garnacho in the 60th minute in a cup final is going to hit like crack.
Yeah,
honestly, because again,
new haircut, same class.
Exactly. And you know what?
It's getting worse. How long did it take you to think that up?
Just 30 seconds, Stu. I've been waiting
Amazing.
for it a little while. But listen, it's kept you on your toes. I think it's made everyone laugh tonight. So fuck you. And I'm going to be bringing them back on Sunday as well. Right, guys. As much as I want to continue, it's been a really, really great show. I've really, really enjoyed it. Of course, it helps when you win and get through to the next round against arguably the best team in Europe at the moment. Not anymore. We are the best team in Europe now. As I said, this weekend going to be slightly different. I think Keane's going to be doing the same sort of thing, getting people to call in. So watch out for that. That's going to be on a Saturday for the preview for the Newcastle game. And of course, I'll be doing the reaction probably a few hours after rather than straight after. But listen, we've had a good amount of people watching tonight, and we do really appreciate that. Loads on Twitter as well. We want you to come over to youtube.com/weekly armchair sports talk. We can't see your comments on there, and we'd absolutely love to read them out. I'm sure there's loads going in there, but we do appreciate it all the same. As I said, big game coming up this weekend. Lots coming up this weekend as well from our perspective, and we want you to be joining. And I'll just throw this one back in there because I think the baby has been found and returned to its rightful owner. It's on the plane back to Barcelona. But anyway, listen, we'll see you very soon, and take care.